from Germany, where we're going to be hosting the finale of the second season of the championship. Hockenheimring, second in Germany, 10th round of the season. Races number 19 and 20. That will be probably the cherry on the cake in this championship. Since if you look at the weather condition, we are at near freezing temperatures today in Germany. The track is skittish, the drivers are on the edge, and there is no sign of sun anywhere in sight today. 20 and 40 minute races plus 1 lap in addition to each of those are awaiting the drivers. As I am being notified that my mic is apparently too low, so now it should be better. Oops. Okay, where was I? So yes, we have what looks like 13 drivers ready to take part in the finale. We do have the champions crowned already, and the 2 times now drivers champion is on your screens right now, taking his first qualifying lap. That's McLaren Tim, already unbeatable for the 2nd year in a row. He's being chased by his teammate, and together with him they formed Timberwolves Racing, the Mercedes entry that is the Constructors' Championship again for the 2nd year in a row. Brilliant performance by the 2 drivers, but there have been murmurs that they might not come back for season number 3. We'll have to wait and see. The silly season begins as soon as the racing season is over. So don't go anywhere until next year, because we're gonna have plenty of interesting things prepared for you. Speaking of interesting things prepared, I do have this little graphic ready for you. The support series has ended a couple of weeks before this race, and here is how things ended. As you see, the top 3 Fordenbergs claimed the championship by a hefty chunk of points, considering just 2 weeks before that the gap was shrinking rapidly. But a successful performance in the Nürburgring round and just hanging just close enough to Tim to nullify his advantage in round number 10 allowed Fordenbergs to claim 13-point victory over Mad Motorsports driver, and Mad Motorsports reigns supreme in the team's championship in support series. And Gunsis managed to claim his favorite 3rd spot once again. Speaking of 3rd spots, let's check the points with 5 minutes to go in the qualifying for the main championship, the Phoenix World Championship, and see what we're gonna be racing for in the last championship. The team standings, as I said, Timberwolves Racing claimed the victory, but place number 3 is still hotly contested. 25 points between PRT Black and Monterey Simsport currently. With all the drivers ready and willing to go, G-Man and Psychedelics are there, as well as Trampel and Nod James, all 4 drivers ready to go. In Drivers' Championship, McLaren team claimed the championship, and Gunsis, along with these 2, claimed his 3rd place. But for 4th, Mr. Grind and Waffles, just 11 points between them. Further down, Neon Tiger versus Nod James. Not sure if Neon Tiger is gonna race today, but at the bottom of the championship, it's all wide open. 69 points between 11th and 20th, so whoever shows up and whoever has a decent result today has a chance to climb to a decent spot at the end of the season. Just 2 races to go, and currently we do have McLaren team on pole with 128.597, just 1/10 in front of his teammate Fordenbergs. Mr. Grind and Gunsis, 2 PRT Gold cars, who are claiming the 2nd spot in the team's championship, claiming the 2nd row in this race, so it all makes sense so far. Jeb Knight, the sole TDR returning driver, is in 5th, and so far Waffles, Psychedelics and G-Man are the only ones, apart from top 5, who got valid times. They still have 4 minutes, which is good for maybe 3 laps if they're lucky. to set up some good valid times. And while they're doing that, we're gonna look at the track. Hockenheimring in Baden-Württemberg in Germany. It's a treacherous little track that's been changed plenty of times. Turn 1, nearly... They want to take it flat, but they can't take it flat because of a curb. And you just have to lift and brake hard enough to be able to squeeze through the one and only line available. After that, in turn 2, you arrive at the hairpin. Probably the hardest braking spot, and with DRS wide open, probably the prime overtaking opportunity. As you exit that, there might be an opportunity for a crossover into Mercedes Arena, turns 8 through 10. And if that's not enough, as you exit that, there's right-hander that sets you up for the entire third sector in Mobile 1 turn number 10. The right-hander, which is a little bit treacherous. If you go a little bit too wide, you're gonna be greeted by the gravel trap. And let me tell you, in these conditions, gravel trap is not your friend. 2.5 minutes left. A couple of cars in pits preparing to maybe start their final runs, as Fordenbrost now joins the track with 2.5 minutes to go. He's gonna be able to get one lap. Two other cars in pits right now are Marzen and Geminite. As you can see, number 22 and number 9 with the number change for the TDR driver at the end here. Waiting for them to go, though we're not sure if they're gonna. Mr. Grinder is the next car in pits. 2 minutes left on the clock. We'll see if he's gonna start. Yes, he's gonna start his next flying lap. So that's gonna be another competitor trying the one lap strategy at the end. Just over a minute and a half left to go in this qualifying round. Last attempt for each of these drivers, very likely. See if that's of any success to any of them. Currently, McLaren team is on pole. Forden is right behind them, so we're gonna have to wait and see what happens here. As Fordenbrost in second place is gonna cross the line now, and he is gonna have one flying lap. We're gonna go on board with the Dutchman and see if he's gonna be able to nullify the gap. Remember, you have to stay in track. As soon as all 4 tires leave the racing surface, your time is automatically wiped. There is no adjudication. You go wide, that's it. In qualifying, no room for error. 129 something for Gunsis. Good for third place ahead of his teammate, and that's him done for this qualifying round. Let's see if Mr. Grinder is able to reply with anything. Fordenbrost is going to be one of the last cars that's going to cross the line. We still have 13 seconds left. Mr. Grinder crosses the line, does not improve. Current team crosses the line, still does not improve. So that's first, third, and fourth in the pits now, awaiting results. Forden is 1/10 behind his best time. Now we're gonna wait and see if he's able to get a little bit better. 130.4 from Psychedelic is good enough for 9th so far. Saltcedar is done with his qualifying. The timer is now out. I'm not sure if Psychedelic is able to go on yet another lap. We'll have to wait and see if he made it before checkered flag. He's not going to be able to make it before the checkered flag is everybody else. They're just going to be finishing their laps. Fordenbrost, just a little bit slower. He needs a perfect exit. He tries a little bit loose on exit, and that's plus 0.25. So it's not going to be enough to promote him to the first place. And he's going to stay where he is. Geminite exits the pit lane a little bit too late. We have a couple of cars. That's 17... and 55, both of them are done. We're waiting to see. Actually, 55 might not be done. 73, not James, is in the last sector, and Psychedelics has stopped. I think he went before the checkered flag, but he stopped, so he will not be completing his lap. It looks like 73 and maybe 55 are the 2 cars we're waiting for here. in overtime for this qualifying. Last qualifying of the season. Now James crosses the line and goes ahead of Psychedelics. 130.4. Good enough for 9th place. So your final qualifying round ended up in McLaren team on pole alongside his teammate Fortin Burst, Gunzes and Mr. Grinder 3rd and 4th for PIT Gold. Rampale, great result for Monterey Simsport, who need all the points they can get, in 5th position. Alongside him is going to be Gemnite from TTR, followed by Waffles. Not the best qualifying round for the Swede. Saltseeder, Not James, Psychedelics, G-Man, Monochromatic, and Marzen in 14th. As we're getting some broadcast stuff out of the way, we are getting ready to go. In under a minute, Hockenheimring race number 19. But he's a bit silent. Waiting for the final lights. The cameras are a little bit twitchy. They can't wait too. We have 85 seconds before we start. And before we start with Gemnite flashing his lights, I have 30 seconds to tell you for the last time this season about our second charity campaign, second annual charity campaign for direct relief. Up top we have gathered $50 this season, and if you want to donate, please follow links either in Discord or underneath the Twitch stream. But for now we have 6 lights and away we go. 13 cars go out of the way to try and win the penultimate race of the season. Brilliant start from McLaren team. I'm sorry. Pretty much the entire field just went wide here in turn number 1. As they approach turn 2, we'll see what stewards have to say about this. Yeah, questionable start for everyone, but pretty much everybody managed to stay put. Number 30, that's Waffles, a little bit wide in turn 2. That will make him a sitting duck to everybody behind if they get close enough. Front Turismo entry. Looks like he's going to be under fire from Psychedelics. 3 wide into the hairpin for the first time. Mr. Grind on the inside. Waffles incented it down the inside to keep it 3 wide. Everybody is alive. Churchill managed to stay ahead of this. And Gemnite is going to be behind that back side by side, 17 and 20. Trampale manages to get ahead of Mr. Grinder despite being behind, but Mr. Grinder comes back at him in the braking zone. The Mercedes Arena goes wide, car 17, and that's a chance for Gemnite. 2 cars wide as well, that's Psychedelics and Saltseeder, I believe. We are still side by side, that's Waffles now alongside Gemnite, who is trying to find himself a line. Trampale is fine, but behind them the battle continues. Gemnite is braking a little bit earlier, but he's on the inside, but around the outside with the help of a camper goes car number 30. Waffles is promoted himself to 6th place against Gemnite. What a first lap. Absolutely spectacular battle. Up top, McLaren team is currently 1.3 seconds ahead of Fortin Burst. So everything is fine and dandy for our champion. Behind we do have 2 cars right next to each other. That's car number 9 and car number 30. Further back we see a couple of battles brewing still. No DRS available yet. It's going to be available starting next lap, so whoever is ahead would really want to hurry up. Meanwhile, Monochromatic tries to go on the inside of Saltseeder. He still goes hard on the brakes and misses the braking zone completely. And off the track goes car 55 that rejoins dead last in 13th place. Saltseeder is lucky to avoid that. Bit of a mad dive right here, but he continues. Looks like no harm done at this point. Another well, it's the same battle, next chapter in the battle between Waffles and Gemini. Gem is trying to go outside, catches grass, but manages to stay alive for now. This is insane. They're looking for any any opportunity, even when there might not be any. Meanwhile, Psychedelics goes around South Cedar here. A little bit of a mistake for car 16, I would assume. Going on wide angle to catch all the action available here. Gem Knight as hard behind Waffles as he can be early in the race. Remember, it's just 20 minutes plus 1 lap. It's not a lot of time for any driver to get around as many people as possible. Meanwhile, Mazen goes off track, and I believe that is a DNF for the Brit. We saw as well Psychedelics having an issue and facing the wrong way. That looks like turn 2. He was ahead of South Cedar. Not sure if there was contact or not, but he rejoins in 12th place and quite a ways back. Meanwhile, because of a mistake by Mr. Grinder, maybe a contact, Trampale promotes himself to 4th position, and that's of immense help to his team. All points count at this point. The gap is not that big. But if their races are successful, that's the opportunity to steal the position from PRT Black. Looking at the leaderboards, Fordon Burst is trying to hang behind McLaren team as much as he can. He will have the help of DRS, well, starting from this lap onwards. But for now, he's able to get 3/10 from McLaren team, and as he posts the fastest lap of the race, 1:29.1. Personal best from Trampale, and obviously 2 seconds slower for Mr. Grinder, who will want that 4th position back sooner rather than later. Still within seconds between Waffles and Gem Knight, and we are trying to stay with them as Gem Knight tries to go around the outside. Defense from Waffles on the inside. Good with the speed, but will he be able to outbrake his Swedish opponent? A mad dive from car number 30, but he leaves enough room for his rival, who is now able to squeeze through on the outside and through the 6th place. Now the dilemma for Waffles is whether he wants to stay harder on his heels with a little bit of a death wobble here, or whether he wants to be cautious, as Not James, who is now in 8th position, is trying his best to catch up and get ahead of this duo. They're being chased by G-Man in 9th, and after a mistake by Psychedelics, this is a championship gap that might become a position change late in the championship. 1:29.3 for both our leaders that are holding station currently, but obviously for Bowdon it's more than likely with the help of DRS. 1:29.8 from Mr. Grinder, who's starting to catch up to Trampale, trying to get anything possible done. As we're trying to figure out our cameras. There we go, there's a camera. I wanted the onboard with car number 30. Waffles, you see how slippery it is. The tires are not particularly warming up at this point. The track is cool. The air in Germany is cool. So the tires and the core of the wheel is not exactly warming up. They need to be wary of any, should I say, wobble on exit, because it might become a spin. I say that as if spins were not commonplace early in the season. Obviously they were, but even more than usual, which says a lot given how many drivers complain throughout the season of the handling of the cars and their tendency to oversteer a lot. Though we see that with the help of DRS, Waffles is posting his fastest personal lap so far, but it does not help him much as Gem Knight is pulling away slightly. But Gem Knight is a solo entry right now, and he would want as many points as possible. He missed almost the entire season. So with good results, he would like to get back to, well, mid-pack and if possible higher in the championship to end the season on a high note. 130.6 for Waffles, 130.7 for Not James. And Gem Knight, meanwhile, is flying away. It looks like the next battle is gonna be here as Mr. Grinder continues his charge to catch back up to Trempale after he lost that position earlier on as we're approaching halfway point. But if they fight a little bit too much, that red, black and white car of a Gem Knight is catching up and he will join the party as soon as the opportunity presents itself. So let's wait and see if they're gonna be willing to battle it out or just stay put, stay close, and maybe figure it out at the end rather than now. Forden Bros, meanwhile, within a second of his teammate McLaren team, you see him right here. Obviously a lot of help of DRS, but I bet the Dutchman will not be complaining about that at this moment. See what happens. They do have the 2019 PWC champion team badge on their cars, and if the team continues to live on, it won't take much to alter this livery. Just scratch out the numbers and replace with 2020 as they dominate yet another season, and now left to battle amongst themselves to figure out who's going to be the superior at the end of a season in the last race. It's mostly the pride points they're talking about right now, and a pride point that makes Forden still hunt his teammate down and try to make something happen. 0.6 of a second left, 0.5. Forden obviously catching up rapidly, but it's one thing to catch up, it's a completely different thing to overtake. It's let's say easier to overtake here than at a couple of different circuits we visited. But still, McLaren team is not your backmarker. He will fight tooth and nail for this position. He is the champion, and even if he does not finish any of these two races, it does not matter much to him. So he will battle for that place, and he will battle hard. This is pretty much the only stakes for these two drivers is the result of this race. Nothing else matters. They secured 1-2, they secured the team championship. Now they just race for fun and for the gold medal at Hockenheim. A little bit of a mistake you saw earlier. Forden Bros clipped gravel a little bit. That cost him about half a second. So he's gonna retry all of that once again and try to maybe catch back. Very aggressive over the curb in turn 1. Trying his best to catch up. 129.8 for Trempale, 29.9 for Mr. Grinder. So the German battle continues, and number 17 entry does not want to willingly give it up. And what's more important is that Gunsis, who's now 9 seconds back from this pack, is falling closer towards Trempale. So two Germans are catching up to the Latvian, and we might have a triple battle for podium here in a moment. Obviously Trempale would want that podium to get as many points as possible. It's still mind-numbingly close, and with both Monterey Sim Sport cars having an edge over PRT Black, we might see a swap already. But now Psychedelics is closer than he's ever been to Monochromatic here. We're gonna spectate them for a little while, see if the pass happens soon. Each position is 3 to 4 points, so Psychedelics wants to get back. Even if one, that might be a difference between 3rd and 4th in the championship. So that's gonna be a pass he will have to make. We have a little bit of a hiccup for our TV cam, but we are back and waiting to see what happens. On board with car number 14. Red hot chase. No blinking lights just yet, so the German is not employing psychological warfare just yet to pass his rival. 7.5 minutes left. A little bit wide for Monochromatic, as he tries his best to not allow a line for overtaking, but if he saw just a little bit away from the apex for car 14, and that loses him a lot of time at the exit, so now he'll have to start all over again this lap. He's a little bit more conservative than his rival in turn 1, trying to stay within track limits to avoid possible penalty at the end. drivers accumulated warnings here, there, and everywhere as you saw the slide. Car 14 just lucky to survive here, never mind try and overtake. Speaking of overtakes, this battle is heating up. Trampel is hot all over Gunses, and looks like he's gonna be in a golden sandwich in a moment. Do not confuse with the golden shower, completely different things. A second between everybody and then 2 seconds back from Gemnite, who will want to join that party as soon as possible. 6.5 minutes left. Not a lot of laps remaining. 2 more tenths from the lead are cut with another lap from Photon Burst. Psychedelics completes an overtake on Monochromatic, and judging by the gap right after the overtake, that wasn't on track. That was just a mistake from car 55. Continue the battle. Gunses is trying hard, but he's falling back. His rivals are faster. Trampel sideways and off the track he goes. That might be crucial. That might be the championship. Waffles goes through. Trampel loses 2 positions and rejoins. Another car goes through. That's now James, and that's G-Man right behind. Just lost it in turn 2, and that might be it. From such a good gap, he is now all the way back in 9th. And the lead vanishes instantly. He still has time to get some positions, but it's not gonna be as much as it would be for 3rd or 4th position. Big heartbreak for Monterey Simsport, and the decision about who's gonna be superior might have to be delayed till race 20. Meanwhile, for the lead, Photon Burst with 5 minutes to go, still half a second back. Incredibly close racing all throughout the pack. Mr. Grinder is now 7 tenths behind. Drivers held station this lap. It looks like Photon Burst is able to get some DRS, but he's not able to get rid of dirty air provided by his teammate up front now. And you need to find some air to turn before that long straight where you can utilize the DRS. As you see the letterbox wide open. Chasing down 0.6. Let's see how much there will be left at the end of a straight. He's obviously not gonna close the entire gap, but we might have an idea of how much is left. 0.4 is left, so 2 tenths is easily recoverable on the straight with DRS, maybe even more once you account for just sitting in draft of a car ahead. Meanwhile, side by side between Trampel and G-Man, this is the fight for for team's championship. Trampel with DRS open on the outside, G-Man with late brake and squiggle on the brakes. He'll have to leave some space. He does it. It looks like car 17 is able to accelerate better and get up to 8th position, and Monterey Simsport, both cars are ahead once more. Not as much point difference. You see the difference between positions is 3 points. So now it's plus from G-Man, it's +6 for now James, and from Psychedelics it's +9 for Trampel. If I'm doing my math correctly, that leaves a 9-point advantage for PRT Black heading into the last race. So it's all up to play for those 2 teams with 1 race to go. But this race is not over yet. Psychedelics being 16 seconds back is probably not gonna catch up, but G-Man is not out of a fight, and we've seen mistakes happen. They might happen again as Trampel is catching up to his teammate. They'll need to be careful around each other. 3 tenths left, 2 tenths left, and you see once again that the gap is pretty much non-existent by the end of a DRS straight. So Photon Burst, all he needs is a good exit from turn number 3. Good exit to Parabolica. And he has that overtake in the bag. This is the championship implications battle. Positions 7, 8, and 9. Trampel on the outside trying to outposition his teammate. He does, but his teammate lets him through. Maybe a little bit too aggressive here. Obviously car number 19 is not going to be happy about that. We might see a steward review after that, but there was an attempt of a little bit of team tactics. Car 73, not James, started braking very, very early, and now we might see an overtake because of that. Side by side between two drivers. And G-Man goes ahead. Team Tactics might have beaten Monterey Simsport in the rear as they let their rival through, trying to swap places. Not James slowed down to allow his faster teammate through. And now Not James is off the track, sliding all the way to the wall. And he is crashed and trying to go somewhere. Trying to accelerate. Where is Psychedelics? How close he is on the track. Not James rejoins back. So far he hasn't lost the position. Careful on the read. What is this? I believe that's the sound of Psychedelics going through. And that's the sound of Monochromatic going through. So not being careful on rejoin cost Not James 2 more positions. And from being firmly in the grasp of Monterey Simsport, looks like now the third place is in the hands of PRT Black. The swings of fate in this race are incredible, and we still have a race to go. This race, as I said, not over yet. Rempel is ahead of G-Man, but Not James is behind Psychedelic. So after all of that, it looks like PRT Black is gonna gain. Not lose, but gain. Unless Not James is able to claw 4 seconds from Psychedelic's time in what looks like 2 laps. It's gonna be a difficult task. Meanwhile, Mr. Grind and Goods is chasing behind each other. Gemini got the gap down to 1 second. Goldenburst is now 1 second back. He might have run out of DRS laps, or maybe he ruined his tires trying to chase after his teammate. We're not quite sure. But in any case, the gap is growing there. Not James is trying to at least not lose as many points and break even in the championship, as he's on the tail of car 55. 2 laps to go for our leader. Gonna complete laps 14 and 15. Not James is trying to get back to P number 11. Against Monochromatic, he'll have to wait. He will have DRS advantage if he has any DRS laps left. 0.2 back, and he is looking into turn 1. Probably not the greatest of moves, but Monochromatic not willing to do anything with that. He's just sliding back and letting Not James claim P11. 2 laps to go for everybody involved, but the leader, who is about to cross the line in a moment, chased by Photon Burst. 1 second between those 2 drivers, and 15 seconds back to this back. Not James now 4 seconds behind Psychedelics. We are officially on the final lap of race number 19. 1 second between the leaders. 0.5 between Gunsis and Mr. Grind. This is probably the closest battle we have on track. We're gonna wait and see if Mr. Grind has DRS available for the final time around this track in this race. As hard as possible, or a little bit wide, but the DRS is open, so he will have an opportunity to chase his teammate. Looks like Trample is off track! Trample is off track again in the last turn. Saltseeder and G-Man go through. Oh, it's a disaster for Monterey Simsport. Now it's a given that PRT Black is gonna gain points on them. Absolute disaster. From 4th all the way down to 9th goes Trample, and Not James making a mistake as well. That's a cruel twist of fate. But they still have 1 race to make a miracle happen. They'll need everything they can. Meanwhile, 0.2 between those 2 cars. Less than a second behind is Gemini, so Mr. Granite cannot make a mistake here. Meanwhile, further up ahead, McLaren team crosses the line to claim yet another victory as our champion wins race number 19. Guns and Mr. Grinder exiting the arena for the last time this race, and Gunsis manages to stay just ahead of his rivals in 3rd place, claiming yet another 3rd step on the podium, followed by Mr. Grinder and Gemnite. Waffles is gonna finish in 6th place. G-Man has his position number 7 saved from Saltcedar in the back. And that's a good point haul. Trampale sent in for all his might, but it's gonna be only good enough for 9th. Followed by Psychedelics in 10th. Not James in 11th, and Monochromatic finishes last in 12th with Watson classified as D and F. As we are looking at our race winner car, number 71 of McLaren Tim. Brilliant performance once again from the American. As he claims another win. And let's see if we can grab someone. Here. Trying to figure things out. Just bear with me for a second. As we'll grab somebody for the interview between races to completely unsettle them. Hello, do you hear us?
Yep.
That's the car number 17, Trampale. Seemingly had everything in your grasp early in the race, but all fell apart late. What happened there?
A bit too early on the throttle, and then I couldn't catch it anymore. And then at the end, I was pushing because I thought maybe I could catch Waffles. But I mean, I closed the gap down from 6 to 3 seconds in like 2 laps to Waffles, but it wasn't enough, and then I spun anyways. And that 4th place would have been really good for the championship. Annoys me a lot.
It definitely would have. Still all to play for with one more race, but is it fair to think that maybe the weather and how cold it is today also affects the grip? We've seen quite a few cars, should I say, being a little bit loose on the throttle exiting.
I think it's alright. It's only hard on the first 1.5 laps, maybe half lap. After that, it's perfectly fine, in my opinion. The track mod is really grippy, so you don't struggle a lot with it. You just have to watch out to not accelerate too early. That's the only thing. And I'm running pretty low, rear wing, so I have to watch out extra for that.
Okay, so if my math is correct, I'm doing one literally on a napkin right here. So pardon me. PRT Black managed to get 9 more points, so that makes your gap 33. That seems like a steep gap, but do you think you have the pace to get back to that 3rd or 4th place and maybe claw that one back?
I don't think so, but we'll try our best, I'd say.
Well, good luck, and certainly will be entertaining, I hope.
Catch up back to Grinder and Gunchis. Gunchis was rapid. He was as quick as I was with DRS off. So yeah, he's gonna be gone. I think I'm gonna have to catch up to Grinder and fight with him, but I think that's about as good as I can do.
It was definitely a battle pack, so good luck to you, and may we see another great battle at the end of the championship.
Hopefully, thank you.
Alright, that is it for race 1. We're gonna wait a little bit, regroup, and go for race number 20 of 20 in this championship. Just one more race beside all the positions, as I'm off to do some more napkin math here, as we're gonna be back in just a few. Don't go.
Hot Wheels like, fuck you. I'm not turning. I hit the wall, but I hit one of the bumps because I lost. Heavy damage, heavy damage. Don't try to kill yourself. GT3, get a GT3. These fucking idiots. At least I think something bad happened to somebody in front of us. Welcome to Daytona. Checker flag. Fantastic job, everyone.
Does it improve the lives of people? That's the true measure of any technology or any new investment. And you hope to God that basic core human element is never lost, no matter how technologically advanced we get as people. So the human case has always been strong for what direct relief does. People who are poor or stuck in these terrible circumstances need help. That basic idea to listen, not impose, to be respectful and not arrogant is still as valid as it was in 1948. Principles really don't change, and I think direct relief, fortunately, started with good ones of being open-minded, kind of big-hearted with respect to people's needs, and hard-headed when it comes to other people's money. When you look back and think direct relief has played a significant role in many of the signature humanitarian events over the past 70 years, the combination of those characteristics has served the organization well, and they're sort of timeless. You're surrounded by inspiration if you see it. I think anytime, if you've never done something, or you've done something at one scale, it's scary to think how you can do it at 10 times the scale. But at the end of the basic decision was pretty easy. Why would we not do this when the signals were all pointing in the right direction? The dedication of the building is really a rededication to the cause, to the idea, and a commemoration to the people whose generosity made it possible. What it represents is a much greater capability to help more people with tools that we have embedded in it, with the experience of 70 years. To bring those together in this building so we can do more in the same efficient way we've always tried to do it is really exciting. And we are sobered by the challenge, but deeply thankful for the opportunity to keep doing what Direct Relief has been doing for the past 70 years.
Hi, I'm Norman Mitchell, standing here in front of BBC Wellness Center in Houston, Texas.
Mid-County area is where we're going. Port Arthur, Nederland, Port Neches.
We're in Canovanas, the shelter here in Puerto Rico.
We're here at Jardín Pushkin in Colonia Roma.
The hallmark of disasters is you have to do what you do, you just have to do more of it faster. 2017 has seen more large-scale emergencies in sequence than ever before in Direct Relief's 70-year history. The people who know the most, have the most at stake, are going to do the best job with the resources they have are the ones who live there.
Just received a large shipment of critical medicine from Direct Relief.
Some gauze, some bandages for people that are managing the response and rescue efforts.
You're standing strong, united with every other organization providing primary care and critical access to those individuals who have been most impacted.
drive me down to the pine trees. Looking for lost hopes and dreams. I feel you breathing in your heartbeat. Spinning tires set alight, fire on the street. These concrete skies make pitch black nights. We carve our names with our headlights. Open your eyes and you will see home is you and me. Home is you.
There's going to be contact. Marco Wittmann is out onto the runoff area.
Go fully into my car.
Keep going.
So this is extraordinary.
This is DTM, proper racing. Bumps and show for elephants.
当今的摩纳哥大奖赛。
The cars are ready to go as we're about to hit the lights out for the last race of the season at Hockenheim. 6 lights out and away we go for the 20th time at sunset with the lights on. Great start once again from McLaren team behind him. Cars go wide and all over the place. Sideways and into the gravel goes car number 15 of Gemnite. Big issue as he rejoins at the end of the back. Meanwhile, the rest of them are still trying to filter through. Saltcedar almost collides with one of the PRT black cars. Both of them have a great start. Psychedelics up to 7, G-Man up to 6. Both in front of those teal cars, but meanwhile 3 wide they go with Saltcedar, who is trying to go around the outside. Both of them trying to break as late as possible, and looks like G-Man is just trying not to impede his teammate. A little bit of a pushing and banging between the two German, Saltcedar and Psychedelics at the exit of a turn. Might have been a little bit of a squeeze because of all of that, trying not to get in the way. G-Man drops currently to 10th position. We do have car 22 of Marzen back on track right now in 12th place. But now Saltcedar is under fire from Trampale and Not James. Not James is the first one to attempt to move. Stays on track and goes around Saltcedar. They need all the positions they can get as fast as they can get them. It's a hard battle, and his teammate Trampale's car 17 goes through immediately. Saltcedar goes off the track trying to rejoin in front of G-Man. That might have impeded him a little bit as a result. That might be with the on the hood of Saltcedar, is trying to catch back to two Monterey Simsport cars, and now being attacked himself by G-Man car number 19. So far, so good on the defense, but two Monterey Simsport cars are getting further away, and now behind G-Man and Monochromatic there is Gem Knight, who is now recovering from his earlier spin. Now in 12th position ahead of Miles, and now trying to get as many spots as possible. The job description for Not James and Trampel right now is to gain positions faster than Gem Knight gains them. So to make sure Gem is between them and PRT Black. However, they need to gain a lot of places here. Gem Knight goes on the inside of Monochromatic out of turn 1 and easily passes and up to 11th place. Psychedelics is currently in 6th, just ahead of Not James and Trampel. Here are the two teal cars of Monterey Simsport. They need to get past Psychedelics to begin with, and then they need to pass more cars. Their preferable situation would be a 3-4 finish ahead of PRT Gold. Remember, this is the long race. This is the 40-minute plus 1 lap race, so they have plenty of time to do it with maybe a little bit of Shadow's trickery and pit stops. But for now, they find themselves in 8th and 9th. Interestingly, sorry, 7th and 8th. Interestingly, the car that should be fast in theory, Trampel, is currently sitting behind his teammate, waiting for him to make his move. Maybe they're trying to stay together in the beginning. Maybe Trampel has not found his pace just yet. Who did find his pace though is McLaren team, setting the fastest lap at 1:29.691 on his 3rd lap, and looks like he's the only car to breach 1:30 mark, steadily driving away from Photon Burst. Remember, the longer they linger, the less time they have to go further. Meanwhile, Gem Knight is catching up to G-Man here. 1 second and then one more to Saltseeder. Remember, Monterey Simsport wants Gem Knight to overtake G-Man and Psychedelics, but not get to them in time. That is the task. And they obviously will need some help from Waffles and 2 PRT Gold cars. However, something tells me they're not going to get much, if any, help from the sister team of that they're trying to battle here. So if anything, they might be a rolling roadblock on their way. But so far, the rolling roadblock is Psychedelics staying ahead. But now we see car 30, Waffles, is right ahead of Psychedelics, which might play nicely into the hands of Monterey Simsport. Though in their disadvantage, car 14 does not want to give up. Oh, as I say that, commentator's curse strikes immediately. Car 14 in the wall, sideways and loose at the exit of a final turn, and rejoins back in 11th, now make it 12th position. And now the race becomes interesting. G-Man up to 9th, or Gem Knight up to 9th from G-Man. And now G-Man and Psychedelics find themselves in 10th and 12th. As I'm trying to calculate how many points it's gonna be 16 points for them if they finish like that. Meanwhile, Trampel and Not James swapped places here. And now they're gonna try to chase Waffles in that formation. For 6th and 7th finish will be 22 and 19 points. So it's gonna be 45 points for Monterey Simsport, and that is 4 short. Monochromatic disconnects. Looks like he did. That makes it 10th and 11th for PRT now, which is good news. So it looks like now they get 18 points combined, and they're 6 points clear as it stands right now. Though, it all changes if Trampel and James both get ahead of Waffles. The championship swings for Monterey Simsport. Psychedelics goes on pit lane, maybe a little bit of damage, maybe to just offset the pits and try to make something happen out of nothing, hard on the brakes, trying to get into his pit box. He's the first car to pit. Trampale is now a second behind Waffles. Remember that one Monterey Simsport car is not enough to get ahead of Waffles. They need both in front. Psychedelics rejoins from a pit lane. He's gonna be battling Marsden, who still hasn't stopped, but obviously worn in rubber for Marsden, so he's gonna gain a little bit of time on Psychedelics in the next couple of laps. Meanwhile, this battle is heating up here. MSS know damn well they need to go. They need to overtake this car 30. And the sooner they do it, the better. Mr. Grinder goes ahead of Fordham Burst. Oh, they're fighting. I didn't think Mr. Grinder was that close. Maybe there was a mistake. There's a bump. There's a hit. And Fordham Burst is not willing to give up. And we might be heading 3 wide into turn 1. Now Fordham is ahead. And, well, boys, you need to settle back a little bit. You don't want to go too wide with your teammate. Through here, Fordham Burst 133. He definitely made a mistake. And all that means is that there's a battle now for second place. McLaren team is in the clear. And battle resumes here. If somebody crashes here, Monterey Simsport reap the rewards. That's 3 cars within a second. And Gemini, meanwhile, clawing his way back to Salt Cedar. Half a second back. That's half a second, and then 2.5 to Not James. They do not want Gemini to get anywhere near them, the Monterey Simsport guys. The gap as it stands currently is 4 points, but Psychedelics will gain a position from Marsden Pitten. And he might gain a position now as they swap places in turn 1. Gunses meanwhile hot on a tail out of Mercedes Arena through Mobile 1 turn and into the gravel, and he spins! And he is in the wall hard! 000. Looks like he lost his headlights trying to get back. Waffles goes through, Trampel and Not James go through, Salt Cedar goes through, as does Gem Knight, and there goes G-Man. Now, this changes everything. Well, maybe not everything, but it changes things. Now Gunses is in G-Man's boat of having to catch up. But he has some damage. He continues for now. Maybe he feels like his car is okay. So that changes things. So now it's 9th and 11th for G-Man and Psychedelics. Let me run the numbers. That will be 13 and 10. 23 points. But with that, counting is hard. Gemini got around Salt City as we're looking through this. And Trampale got around Waffles. This is important. This is championship implications here. And Waffles is immediately under fire. A little bit loose on exit from car 17. That gives an opportunity to Waffles to counterattack, but not happening just yet. I'm trying to count points here, so now 28 for Trampale and 22 for Not James. That makes it a 40-point haul. Wait, no. And 22, that means a 50-point haul, sorry. 50-point haul for Monterey Simsport. And they're still 6 points behind. When Not James overtakes, if Not James overtakes, there will be 1 position ahead. And if Gunses goes around G-Man, that will be championship in favor of Monterey Simsport. However, they have trouble. They have trouble, and his name is Gem Knight. He's still catching up, and Not James is still not around Waffles. Gunses now in the pits. It is gonna be important for later in the race, for later in this battle. For Monterey Simsport, he will need to exit back on track somewhere between Not James and G-Man. There is not the biggest of gaps between them. The problem for Not James is while he's catching waffles, he's being caught by Gem Knight. He does not want to lose that place. 12 cars on track. Psychedelics goes around Gunses. So Gunses' issue was longer than that. He's gonna lose a little bit of time and he will need to gain that position back on track. We have a long train. Everybody from Trampel onward. There's 5 cars here. That's all battling for position and all trying to do their best. And championship implication is not over yet. We might not have many chances to do that, so we're gonna go pure sound. Back we go into this battle as Gem Knight decides to pit rather than try to win on track. He's trying to get a tactical position. Now, where is Psychedelics and Gunses? Currently Psychedelics is ahead of Gunses on track, so that's a good addition. Gem Knight rejoins ahead of both of them, so he's not gonna be a factor. But car number 14, that black and green BIT black car, is under severe fire, and I highly doubt this is gonna end in favor of the German. Kunz is not going for a move here. He's waiting for the long parabolica. And see if he can slingshot his way around. On the inside he goes. And what looks like a relatively easy pass for Gunses as he goes in 10th place. An attempt of a crossover not close enough, and the race continues. As we look for pit stops. Yeah, that's not accurate. So this is the age of tires, and that's definitely going to be interesting closer to the end of the race. We do have new fancy graphics here, which is interesting if it works, when it works. Meanwhile, looks like South Cedar had an issue somewhere. G-Man is around, and with a solid 5-second gap, which is a terrible news. Unless Salt City just was in the pits and we completely missed that, which would be otherwise it's terrible news for Monterey Simsport, because that gap is growing larger with G-Man doing better. Gunses is off the track again. That is turn 1. He rejoins behind Psychedelics. Even more bad news for Monterey Simsport. The swings go back and forth and back and forth. Speaking of swings, now Waffles once again putting pressure on Trampel. He wants to get back there in 4th place. He has his battle with Mr. Grinder. The gap there is 17 points in favor of Mr. Grinder, but if the German makes a mistake, Waffles wants to be there to capitalize on that. He needs to be a few positions higher. Once he's lost 6 seconds, he'll need to get back in the next 21 minutes 30 seconds and 1 extra lap. So far so tight between cars 17 and 30 as we're approaching the midway point of a race. G-Man and South Cedar, both cars on the pit lane, and G-Man rejoins faster, so no time difference. Now where is Gemini? There he goes, round the outside and in the clear of both G-Man and South Cedar by a solid margin. Now where is South Cedar in relation to Psychedelics? No Psychedelics in sight, so that's not gonna change much. 6 seconds between them, and it might shrink, but not enough. Meanwhile, Not James 2.5 seconds back from Waffles. I'm gonna say, well, Monterey Simsport did not shy away from any team tactics. From Trampel's point of view, close to the end of the race, after pit stops, he might want to try to back Waffles into James. But he needs his teammate to pass. It's gonna be almost impossible to orchestrate, but he needs any help he can get here. And that involves a little bit of a dirty tactics. Or somebody ahead of him. That would be Photon, Grinder, or Team having a major issue like Gunz's had. Again, Gunz's, for them to improve, Gunz's will need to make his way what looks like 15 seconds up the road ahead of both Psychedelics and G-Man. That's gonna be quite difficult. The Latvian needs to get on it as fast as possible. The battle between Trampel and Waffles continues as we're waiting for more cars to go onto the pit lane. The entire leading pack has not been there, and we are also waiting for 2 Monterey Simsport cars. PRT Blacks pitted, Monterey Simsport going long with both of their cars. Now, are they trying to play tactical games with Waffles here? Is the overcut worth it? The drivers have to know this. We in the commentary booth have zero clue of what's best. Just sitting here and enjoying racing. Not James is not having the greatest time now. 4 seconds back of Waffles. That might be the championship position without spectating. With G-Man as high as he currently is, it isn't. But once again, it's all close. Every position matters here. Let me try to recalculate how it stands once again. So it's 4th and 6th for Monterey Simsport. That's going to be 28 and 22 points for 50 combined. But as it stands, G-Man has 16 points and Psychedelics has 10. It's 26 points and that's 9 ahead. 9 points. If Monterey Simsport finishes 4th and 6th, they need a combined result of 2 PRT black cars to be no higher than 17 points. And no higher than 17 points would mean pretty much 10th and 11th. Oh, sorry, 10th and 12th. 10th and 11th is 18. So they will need to just disintegrate if they want things to finish like that. They need more places. They need someone else to make mistake, and they need more people to pass PRT Black. Both McLaren team and Mr. Grinder in the pits. Borden assumes the lead as his teammate exits the pit lane. Mr. Grinder, let's see where he exits in relation to Gemnite and this whole pack. Not James. Okay, we have to swap. Not James. This is a crucial pit stop in terms of championship. This is crucial. Where does he rejoin? Where is Gemnite? What is going on? The wheel spin is severe for this car. It needs to get all the heat possible. It needs to rejoin, and there is Gemnite right behind. This is a battle that James cannot lose. If he loses this battle, it might all be over, but he's loose and he's tight and he missed the braking zone. And there goes TDR driver up to 6, and that might be a heartbreak. Gemnite will have all the tires, much all the tires. 73 is trying to warm him up, just doing a little bit of a wiggle all the way throughout Parabolica, trying to do anything he can. He will need to close the gap and get around, but it's easier said than done. Waffles putting pressure on Trampel, who is now the only MSS car left in that pack. Let's see who pits first. If we look at pit stops currently, we do have Fortenburst, Trampel and Waffles without any pit stop. Everybody else made their compulsory stop, and there goes Trampel, the next car on the pit lane. That is big and that is important. As we switch back, let's see where he is. There goes Mr. Grinder. Where is Gemnite? This is the biggest question. Is he ahead of Gemnite or not? Looks like he is. Gemnite crossed the start-finish line now. He's not in the picture. He's gonna be approaching turn 1 now. We don't see him on a screen, so Trampel's gap is good. Gemnite's undercut did not work on him, but it worked on James. So that's the difference, and that might be the decider. 5.5 seconds. Might be the most important 5 seconds in this championship. We still have to wait for Waffles. Waffles might be able to provide an overcut. And now we wait. 2 cars left on track who haven't pitted yet. This car 30 Waffles, and our leader, Fortenburst. They both approach sector 3. We look at Fortenburst. He elects to go further. He's confident in his tires, and he keeps lapping. He has PRT Gold cars on his tail after pit stop. Now Waffles does dive into the pit lane. There we go. Car number 13 pits 1 lap after Trampel. Let's see what happens. Mr. Grinder goes around, so that's his championship battle with Waffles. There is his car, I believe the sound of it, which is here. So he's back in 3rd. I believe unless Mr. Grinder makes a major mistake, that's this battle done. But now, what about Trampel? There is Trampel, alongside and around, and he is through Waffles. And he will only build the gap with the new tires. Now, the question is, Gemnite is 2.5 back from Waffles. He will catch up, but there are 3 seconds already to Not James from Waffles. Not James needs both of them. He needs to pass both these cars, and he's not currently doing it. Trampel is doing everything in his might to get as close as possible. 11 seconds to Mr. Grinder in 30 minutes. That might be impossible even on fresh set of tires. Kunzes is not gaining. The damage might be too severe for him to do anything. Meanwhile, Psychedelics is trying to ensure that no shenanigans happens as he's closing the gap to Saltcedar. 7 tenths between 2 Germans as they're battling it out for P number 9. Each position is a safety net. Each position gained by Psychedelics and G-Man is a safety net towards that podium in team standings. 12 minutes plus 1 lap to go as Gemnite is trying to get around Waffles, who is on fresh tires that are just slowly heating up, and with that chase and a setting sun, for the last time this season it's time to go to pure sand. Final lap of Phoenix World Championship continues. 3 tenths between 2 cars, Photon Burst and Trampale. Second between Trampale and Photon Burst and Mr. Grinder. I'll talk about the rest later. Side by side, Photon Burst and Mr. Grinder, and Photon Burst is ahead. On the brake and hard is Mr. Grinder this touch. There's a wreck and sideways goes Mr. Grinder. He is rejoining the track. Let's see if he's clear of everybody behind him. It looks so. They might talk about it later. We'll see if there is any consequence for that move. Meanwhile, onto the Parabolica go Saltcedar and G-Man. McLaren team crosses the line and the champion wins another race. But we are going to the end with those two. And no move here. Still plenty of room left. We have them going almost side by side on the inside. Dive Saltcedar. They are side by side in the arena. Will there be a late move? Attempted crossover does not work. A little bit too fast, too far. You will have a couple of turns. Photon Burst finishes second, Mr. Grinder in third, fourth and fifth Trampale and Gem Knight. But here, Saltcedar with the last possible sector to get around G-Man. Will he be able to do that? Nobody knows. He has a couple turns, but they're not overtaking turns in the slightest. He'll have to have some luck on his side as well as a mad move. He goes off the track in a desperate attempt, and there's not gonna be a move. He's gonna finish 9th, G-Man finishes 8th, and with Psychedelics in 10th, that's good enough for PRT Black to secure 3rd place in the championship. Guntzes with a dismal performance in 11th position. But the champion burns it down. Car 71, McLaren team, is your Phoenix World Championship 2020 Drivers Champion. What a spectacular season for the American. And he caps it off with a brilliant performance. Let's see if we can immediately grab him in the booth so we can hear the first reaction of now officially Phoenix World Champion.
Hey, yeah, thanks Georgian. Yeah, that was a really good last race. Yeah, and as for the whole season, yeah, I'm really happy that all the hard work paid off. It's been kind of a long season, being in the year of 2020, but yeah, thanks to everyone for racing. Thanks Photon for being my teammate. I didn't prepare a list of thank yous, but just know that the good vibes are there.
It was a spectacular season for you and a spectacular last couple of races. Nobody was able to touch you, just miles ahead. And now, 2 times champion. And what's the goal for next season? What are you gonna do, and are you just gonna drive away even further from everybody?
Dude, I don't know. I've been kind of burned out from this season, honestly, but yeah, I mean, we haven't even released any details of what the next season is going to be, like what card is going to be even, so we'll see, but yeah, I'll think about it when the time comes.
Well, I'll just let you relax and enjoy your 2nd championship. Congratulations.
Yeah, and thanks Georgian for putting on the show all season. It was really great. Now,
let us grab somebody who contributed to PRT Black, not yet officially, but with my napkin math, regaining P3 in team standings. Psychedelics, hello, and welcome to the booth. Great race for you, and a tight weekend.
Yeah, it was a bit stressful. Race 1 was a bit of a bummer because I kind of missed my braking point into the Mercedes arena, or whatever the turn is called. Had to let by the guys that I slightly punted. and then spun later a lap, which didn't help at all. Yeah.
We're definitely gonna wait for stupid decisions. There might be a few, but for now, with my napkin math, PIT Black is 12 points ahead. So even with decisions, that's what looks like 3 or 4 positions of safety net. As I said all season 4, it looks like the Monterey Simsport was the faster team, but just not consistent enough. Even in race 19, they ended up both behind you with spins and crashes. Do you guys, you and G-Man, just try to make a point of just consistently turning laps and making sure you're as safe as you can be? Whoa, as I'm blinded by pit lane.
Yeah, Jim and I actually talked about Ford, and we definitely aim to be just finishing consistently, which in the end helps more than trying to fight it out and eventually making mistakes or getting punted off or punting someone off. And yeah, we both agree that for race 2 that was the way to go. Just finish, and it looked like it worked out.
Definitely looks like it did. Well, congratulations with preliminary third place in Teams Championship. Congratulations with the season as organizers of the whole shindig. And I honestly don't know just yet. Do we have any teasers or anything to share in terms of the next Phoenix World Championship? Just not.
Nothing quite concrete yet. I think the most likely thing is that this was our last race with the T5 cars, but I don't know yet. Might be that we vote on it to retain them, but it certainly looks like we are not, like the proposals are in, and
well,
yeah, we'll see.
Well, the least of everything, expect change and expect tighter, I guess, more populated battles, as this has been a crazy season. Thank you very much, and time. Alright, let's see. Couple of guys are a little bit busy, so we're gonna grab the next obvious choice. Hi, Foden, do you hear us?
Hey.
Hi. Well, certainly an entertaining race 20 to cap off the season for you, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
What happened there at the pit stop? We didn't quite catch it. How did you end up 7 seconds behind Mr. Grinder?
Well, it was kind of reminiscent of the pit stop issues that I had, like, all the way in the beginning of when we started driving these cars. But it actually had a different reason this time. Before, I just managed to always forget to save the pit stop strategy in the setup. This time, it was actually the track. Because on the right side of pit entry, there's like a piece of tarmac that isn't marked as pit road. And if you're on that piece of tarmac, it actually doesn't show your pit box. And so, yeah, I was just too far over in that spot. And so it didn't show my outline for the pit box. And by the time I knew where it was, I just overshot it by like a couple centimeters and I had to back up into it. And then I didn't trigger again, so I had to drive forwards into it. So yeah, that cost me an easy 15, maybe 20 seconds.
Well, it certainly gave us something to look at. That's for sure. That was a great charge, and I believe you almost tied your teammate in terms of fastest lap there at the end with your charge to get around Mr. Grinder. And there was a little bit of a touch at the end as well, as Grinder sent it hard. Was there any damage at the end for you?
I think there was a little bit of damage, weirdly on the front. I don't know if he was that far alongside, but yeah, it was no damage that was noticeable while driving, essentially. So yeah, didn't really feel much of it.
Well, in any case, congratulations with the team's title. Well secured, the second in the championship, only behind the undefeated teammate of yours. And there have been murmurs next season that we might see the two of you in the different teams. Have anything to share about that?
I don't know if Tim has said anything about it, but yeah, we have talked about it, internally, and essentially, I mean, we've had a great team just in terms of teamwork and just driving together. It's been great. The only thing is that both of us kind of felt like we started to become our own enemies. Well, not enemies, but basically the only people that could fight us were ourselves, and then it's quite annoying to be in the same team because you kind of stop sharing setups and laps and that kind of stuff. You kind of start to separate a little bit. So yeah, basically we decided to make this the final season for Timberwolves, at least for now. Maybe we change our minds, but that seemed to be the best way forward, and just team up with some other people, some fresh cooperation, and just yeah, hope to fight each other a little bit more on track without having to like take care to not point each other out.
So does it mean the end of Timberwolf as a team, or just a new lineup for now 2 times champion?
Well, I mean, the name is kind of based on our names. So yeah, I mean, I haven't really thought about it. We kind of came up with it together, so at least my understanding at the moment is that we'll actually just disband the entire team and start fresh with a new name and yeah, new lineups.
Well, gotta say one thing, no better way to leave than on top, and you just did it 2 years in a row. Congratulations, and celebrate with each.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Alright, I think that's gonna be it for today. A couple of drivers still trying to wind down. Some are doing their own thing. I think we're done with the interviews for now, as we will wait for the student decisions to finalize everything. Keep in touch on our Discord server. The link is in the description of a Twitch stream, and our social media, likely Twitter. The final results are going to be posted as soon as they're available. Also join our Discord, where we will have Winter Series. The MX5 series already started 2 weeks in. The next weekend is going to be Knock Hill. Tiny track with major implications, and soon we're going to start yet another season, F1 through history. There's going to be plenty of racing, and Phoenix World Championship will come back in one way or the other next year. Until then, from myself and the entire organization team, the race organizers, the tech team, the media group, and the broadcast van, which is currently about to open champagne to celebrate the end of yet another season, we thank you all so very much for watching, donating to Direct Relief, and helping us in any way possible. We all appreciate it very, very much, and we appreciate every single one of you tuning in for 5 seconds or for the entire season. Not matter. We hope to see you all next season, whenever it may be, but for now, we as a broadcast go into the winter break with expectation of more racing, more broadcasting, and more Phoenix Racing Club for you. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Ilya Babansky. Thank you, and goodbye.